Jamel President grew up less than a mile from the College of Charleston and graduated from Burke High School. He was as hard-nosed and spirited as any player I have ever coached. On the defensive end, he always guarded our opponent's best scorer. His jump shot was picture perfect, and he iced many games with his foul shots. In fact, in his senior year, he ranked 4th nationally from the foul stripe. He played in the backcourt with Anthony Johnson, and they made a magnificent duo. In an NCAA game against Stanford at the United Center in Chicago, Jamel was voted Chevrolet Player of the Game. After graduation from the college, Jamel has given so much back to the community. He presents to youngsters seminars in SAT taking and academics, and conducts clinics and camps teaching the ABCs of basketball. He is also president and CEO of the Day Foundation. Jamel, congratulations, and a big thanks for your contributions and the role model you have become for the youth of Charleston.
President Benson.
Dating we find out life.
Good work. Let me hear you, Daniel. Okay, Daniel, get that, Daniel. Gabriel, concentrate on figuring it out versus just doing it. Does that make sense? Because when you're just doing it, then you don't recognize the mistakes, and then you go to sleep a lot mentally. Okay, so focus on figuring it out. Okay, like really trying to figure it out. Okay, come on. Oh, I see the problem. Look, and look, this is a problem too. Look. Come on, Daniel, stay with it. I'll give you speedy all day. I need 17. When you do this, it's not gonna work for you. You gotta be in control of it. Look, I'm pushing it down. I'm making this happen. I'm not doing this. That's what gets the problem. So you control it. All right, let's go. Shoot. There you go. There you go. Good. And see what happens is that now it comes concentration. Because you do it 1, 2, 3, and then you lose concentration. Right? You gotta keep that focus, especially your right hand or left hand. So your left hand is a lot what? Weaker. Okay? So that means you gotta really focus in to make things work evenly. Alright? Let's go. Come on, Daniel. Good job, Gabriel. Good job. Hey. So you're waiting on that thing. You're waiting on it to come back. It didn't come back up there for you. Another thing too is that if you're so tall, being that you're tall, and you got smaller guards that can get up under you. If you're like this tall, it's hard to easy to get the ball, right? But if you bend your knees a little bit, see now the ball don't have a higher degree of difficulty. You know what I'm saying? But when it's coming up here, that's a long way for that ball to come back up. Okay? So get a little lower. Back up for me. Get a little lower. Dang, you can't stop like that. Come on, walk one and come back. 3, good, let's go. It's all right. Good. Let's go. Hurting. Hurting. Let's go. You gotta make that strong. Make them legs strong. Good job. Good. It's all right. 2 more. It's on you. Get this rebound and get back. It's all right. Let's go. It's all right. Good. Don't stop, Daniel. That's all right. Good. If you're not strong, it's called muscle memory. You gotta get that muscle used to doing that. Come on, let's go. Good. Right in the middle of that square. Let's go. Come on. Good. Right there. That's the strength. The strength is there. That's all about the focus. The strength is there. It's all about the focus. Almost.
He's Columbia's first African-American mayor, and in this special edition of Quentin's Close-Ups, I speak exclusively with Mayor Steve Benjamin. It's not pretty obvious. Today is Inauguration Day here in the city of Columbia.
It is.
You attended inauguration. When you think of Inauguration Day, what goes to your mind?
Well, it's a chance for new beginnings. I mean, the governor's starting her second term. We're all obviously optimistic that her tenure is positive for all South Carolinians, so it's a chance for everyone to start all over again.
And something that you have in mind is your upcoming State of the City address on January 20th at the Columbia Metropolitan Center. You know, if I were sitting in front of the television and I couldn't attend that particular address, what would I want to hear from Mayor Benjamin?
Well, I think people always want to hear a good factual account of where we are, where we stand as a city, and even more important, people want to hear about optimistic and aggressive goals about where we plan to be. Now, Columbia has a very broad and deep goal of being the most talented, educated, and entrepreneurial city in America,
right.
And that's what we're going to talk about.
And in that State of the City address, obviously you'll be talking about the new baseball stadium, which is better known as Spirit Communications Park. And of course, you just had the groundbreaking just a few days ago. Get back in your memory hat and tell me, what was that like?
Oh, it was exciting. It was exciting. You know, this new baseball stadium that also serves as a multi-purpose venue, hosts anything from small gatherings to obviously 80 baseball games a year. We'll bring 500,000 people to our downtown. Will serve as the primary economic engine of a revitalized urban core. The Bull Street campus is a 165-acre developable tract, the largest of its kind in downtown east of Mississippi. So this means hundreds of millions of dollars, hundreds of millions in income, hundreds of millions in tax revenue for the people of this community. It's a big deal. We're excited about it.
Let's move from Spirit Communications Park to 5 Points. As you know, recently there's been a lot of negative events taking place down there. You brought in a new police chief. He's doing a lot to basically enhance security down there. More cameras, more trees being cut, more lighting and whatnot. When you think of 5 Points, what goes to your mind?
Well, I think 5 Points is a wonderful, unique village. It serves as one of our key entertainment districts. It's thriving now. Recently had a $55 million economic development announcement in 5 Points. And we're seeing, of course, the celebration of the centennial this year as well. So lots of good things happening down there. Law enforcement working closely with our restaurateurs and business owners to make sure that 5 Points is around for another successful century.
And speaking of which, now you have researchers from the USC basically saying, with a study basically saying time for a change. As we sit here right now, do you believe there's a time for a change at 5 Points?
Well, I think all things change. I mean, there was a time when some of my colleagues were in school where the South Main Street was the most exciting area.
Yeah.
There was a time 40 years ago when Main Street itself, and underground Columbia, was the most prominent area. Our goal is to grow Columbia, not to shift the exciting areas around, but to watch Bull Street grow, watch the Vista and Main Street grow, watch 5 Points grow, and we all grow together.
And you know, I just mentioned the Columbia Police. Recently, you just brought in the new police chief, Skip Holbrook. Tell me why, Skip.
Chief Holbrook is a first-class law enforcement officer who has not only the IQ but also the EQ to understand the importance of not just good data-driven policing, but also good community policing. Right man for the right job at the right time.
And let's talk about the 64% of the vote that you got back in 2013. When you look back at that time, what did you tell yourself?
Well, it was 65%.
Pardon me.
Not to get caught up to 1%.
No worries. Yeah.
But it was important to us to win the race by 30 points, which is what we did.
And that was a tough race for you.
Yeah, well, it was important because it was a reaffirmation that people are committed to being one great city, but also being one great bold city, thinking big about what the possibilities are here in Columbia. And it signaled to us that we're on the right track and that a significant majority of the people feel that way.
Dating we find out life.
We're here at Day TV and Fundamentally Mindful. We're here today with Mr. Tom Meletis. How you doing today, big guy?
Wonderful.
Good.
Thanks
Good.
for having me.
No, thanks for being on set. So we're going to go right into it because, you know, in our show we like to cover a lot of important things about athletes. Last week we did a lot of asthma with athletes. So as we, go into our show, we're going to talk about different nutrients, nutritional things that can help athletes performance a lot better. And one thing that when I first met you, telling me about this alkaline water. And doing my researches on it, our body was born alkaline. And through our food that we intake, our body become acidic. And so what happens is that's where most of the bacteria and the cold and things that live in that area, and alkaline kind of breaks that thing up and kind of makes it a lot better. I was going through a reflux problem and started drinking the water, man, it did great for me. So tell us what you got going on today and what you're going to do and how you're going to show the audience about the water.
Well, Jermil, thanks so much for having me. And this product is it's a certified medical device from Japan. And the company's been around actually since the 50s. But it was bought out in 1974, so we'll say the company is 40 years old. It takes your tap water, this machinery, and it restructures the water. It sends water through titanium plates, and when you throw an electrical charge to it, it splits the hydrogens. There are two hoses, a top hose and a bottom hose, and the top hose you'll get naturally the alkaline minerals. And they will shift your pH. As you mentioned, when we got off baby food on solid, we were shifting our acidity, our pH to the acidic state. And you get into your teens, you break out with pimples and whatnot, it's the over-acidity. So what we need to do is shift it back to balance. And drinking this water, and I'll show you in a demonstration, will do just that. It has three qualities. It makes the water a high antioxidant. And I'd like to show you that with you right here with this ORP meter. What we have here is an ORP meter. It stands for Oxidation Reduction Potential, and it grades the antioxidant quality of liquids in millivolts. Green tea is a high antioxidant. Green tea is a negative 100. It's got to be a negative number to be an antioxidant. Vitamin C is a negative 50. So negative is what you want. Unfortunately, water is an oxidant. Water actually oxidizes it. So we're going to take this and we're going to test these various
drinks here. Here's Sprite, and you can see right off the bat it's a high positive 430 and climbing. Okay. Here's Gatorade. Thank goodness for clear Gatorade here. Gatorade's a little lower, 390. Okay. Here is Aquafina. Aquafina is dropping down, 319. Here's Dasani. $348 range. Here's Smart Water. Down a little lower. 320 range. Here's just regular tap water. Okay, 330. Here's Fiji water. Fiji's a little lower. Now these are all positive numbers. Okay, this is Kangen water. Kangen in Japanese means return to origin. What water used to be before it became polluted. We have a negative 590 and climbing. Now over 600. We'll get anywhere from a negative 300 to a negative 820. Extremely high antioxidant. Remember, green tea is a negative 100. When you make green tea with this, it will boost it a little higher. Okay? Negative 630.
Human being? Let us see how this type of water affects human blood. The doctor is drawing blood from a patient's finger. Using a special microscope, we shall be able to see the condition of her body from this drop.
These are red blood cells, and they've lost their electrical charge, so they're all stuck together in a formation called a rouleau. Here's a huge symplast. Symplasts are associated with heart disease and arthritis and lung disease and many other conditions that could be coming in the future.
The doctor asks the patient to drink a small amount of structurized water. After 12 minutes, the doctor again draws blood from the patient and studies it.
So you can see that the cells then become buoyant, they become slippery, and they have their electrical charge, so they repel each other. That allows them to carry oxygen, and it means that we're changing the pH of the blood back to an aerobic environment rather than an anaerobic environment. I think that's utterly amazing that just drinking water could do that.
Dating we find better life.
They say max hydration with water is about 17%. So it stands to wonder why you see athletes that train hard, that are drinking lots of water, they're still cramping up. Quite possibly it's because of the quality of water they're drinking. I've got a green tea bag here. We're going to try to make tea at room temperature. And what we're going to show you here is the absorption of the various products here. Obviously, you can't make tea and soda, or Gatorade, well, you can't make it unless you actually heat the water up. Okay, here's Aquafina, Dasani, Smart Water, Tap Water, Fiji, and Kangen Water. We can make 15 to 20 cups of tea with one tea bag in Kangen water. The reason why this is happening is because of the water molecules. Water molecules start at 15 count. They're in clumps and clusters. And they get larger from there. They go up to 30, 40, and even clusters can be up to 90 count. Okay? When it's run through the machine, it takes these bulk molecules and breaks them down to 3, 4, 5, and 6 count. This water will super hydrate you. That's why it makes tea the way it just did. This water can be ice cold, and you can dip a green tea bag in it and make tea. So that's another amazing quality. The pH. These are pH drops, okay? Kind of like your swimming pool. If you don't maintain an alkaline swimming pool, if it rains and you don't continually check that pH, you're going to have a lot of algae, mustard algae, green algae, and so on. Well, we're going to just show the actual pH, and let me take a moment to show you that the pH chart goes like this. This is neutral. Beginning of blue and purple is alkaline. You don't want to be light green, yellow, orange, and red. This is deadly here. Very, very strong acidic. Okay? So I'm going to now show you the pH of these various drinks. Here's soda, Gatorade, Aquafina, Dasani, Smart Water, Tap Water, Fiji, and Kangen Water. Okay. As you can see, the strongest is the soda and the Gatorade. Extremely acidic, okay? Orange. It takes 32 to 1 to counter the acidity in sports drinks and soda with 9.5 pH Kangen water. 32 to 1. So if you have one 12-ounce Gatorade, you need 32 glasses of 9.5 pH to bring you back to balance. Okay? Look at Aquafina and Dasani, how acidic they are. Okay? Smart Water. Okay? And then you have tap water that looks good, and Fiji. Well, tap water, they put lye in the tap water. It's federally mandated that it has to come in between 7 and 8. If it didn't, it'd be rusting out our piping around the country. The Fiji water, if you read the back label, very small fine print is biocarbonates. They add that to raise the pH. It's not a natural product. Okay? So, Kangen water, as I mentioned earlier, it's done naturally through an electrical charge through water running through titanium plates. And it makes 7 different types of water. It makes, for drinking, 8.5, 9.0, and 9.5. It makes a neutral water. It makes a beauty water for the skin, toner. and then it makes 2.5 strong acid water that will kill any and all bacteria in 30 seconds or less.
We're here today with Mr. John Pearson from Premier Fitness. How you doing today, big guy?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good, good. So, you know, we wanted to do this interview because you have a special machine in here that produces the Kangen Water.
Yes.
And before we get into the, into talking about it, do you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your background and what you got going on here in this facility?
Sure. As Jermel said, my name is John Pearson. I've been involved in fitness and athletics essentially my whole life. Always interested in fitness and trying to find that way to find an edge to outdo essentially our competitors. I went to college at the College of Charleston for exercise science, and I've been involved in a lot of other certifications, fitness and health related, as well as nutrition and otherwise. Several years ago, somewhere around 6 to 7 years ago, a friend of mine, Tom Meletis, had called me up and told me that he had this water that I had to try. He told me all these great things about it, and I said, well, look, let's just try the water. Let's see how the water goes. So after a series of weeks of delivering the water to me, I started really to notice a difference, one in just the drinkability of the water in general, and also in what it was doing for me. I felt like I was getting winded less easily. I was able to perform for longer periods of time, and my endurance had gone through the roof. So being somebody who was always interested in fitness and that competitive edge, I got involved in the water and purchased myself a machine. And from there, it's been history. I've been at it for about 7 years, and I rave about it.
Right. How long did you have the machine?
I've had it for a little bit over 7 years now.
7 years.
Yes.
Okay. And what changes have you seen from you just personally from taking the water? Before we get into its, how and what it does, what personally have you experienced from using the water in the last 7 years?
Well, I think just the simplest thing would be I'm drinking a lot more water than I usually do. The water, it just tastes amazing. It literally tastes like it comes from a mountain spring every day, especially with a little bit of a chill on it. It's unbelievable, and the more you drink, the more you want. So I'm definitely more hydrated. Being more hydrated, I'm actually stronger because my muscle endurance is going to be I'm not only going to be able to last longer in my given circuits or exercise that I'm doing, but I'm also going to be able to be stronger because my muscle's fully hydrated, so it's really going to perform to that ability level that it was meant to be at.
Mm-hmm. And what type of people do you serve here at your gym? Like, what is it for? Is it endurance, nutritional, strength and conditioning? What are the services here, and how does that Kangen Water actually applies to the people you see here in this gymnasium?
Yeah, good question. I focus and deal with all types of people, from just the weekend warriors, house moms, business owners, high school athletes, college athletes, and just everyday Joes, just someone who's maybe just trying to get out of a little bit of pain and get into that feeling good part of life. So hydration is essential for all of us. 70% of our body weight is water, so it doesn't matter if you're an athlete or a house mom. Everybody needs water. Everybody needs hydration. It's imperative for good health.
Day to day, find a better life.
I want to show you what's actually going on internally when you drink Kangen water. So when you start drinking our water, it's going to shift your pH. Okay? Now, we're at the big boys here. 32-1 here. It's not going to change a thing, unfortunately. And just to let you know how strong soda and Gatorade are, I'm going to take a capful. Okay? 1 capful. I'll take Gatorade. They're very strong. And
that's the reason why athletes cramp up a lot too, maybe because they're drinking a lot of acidic beverages.
A lot of sugar in these, high fructose, not good. It packs pounds on athletes and people. Of course, athletes are burning a lot of calories. So we want to be alkaline, and that's what this water does. It's going to shift your pH where your energy becomes amazing. What it does for an athlete, if you're cross-training or working out real hard, you're going to have lactic acid the next day, that evening, sore muscles and whatnot. This flushes out lactic acid, so you can go back out the next day and train even harder, day after day after day. And it's been proven and done by athletes at the highest level. We have athletes in the NFL, NBA, golf, all sports, boxing. In boxing, they're drinking this water during competition because it does not bloat your stomach. It's not going to hinder your performance. It's much lighter. You saw the molecule breakdown. So and the athlete that is properly hydrated during heated performance has a legal edge. We all learned about that with Lance Armstrong. This product takes oxygen to the brain in 30 seconds. Dr. Shinya in 1968 invented the colonoscopy. The polyp remover is called the Shinya technique. We all get introduced to his invention around 50 years old. He's done over 370,000 colonoscopies, and he's never had one of his patients with reoccurring cancer. He explains this in his book, The Enzyme Factor, where he says if you want to avoid cancer, diabetes, and coronary issues, you need to eat a certain diet and you must drink Kangen water. We have a Harvard vascular surgeon. They're both on the medical advisory board with Enagic, the manufacturer of these machines. Dr. Felser was not a water drinker. His patient got him to try it, and he's got very keen sense of taste, and he fell in love with the product. So just two that I wanted to mention to you that are a part of the company.
You mentioned a couple of different
varieties of the Kangen water. And when we were speaking earlier, talk about the molecules and the makeup of the water and how those things perform. Tom, you want to take over and get some insight on that?
Yes. The water molecules are in clumps and clusters first. They start at 15 count and they go up to 90. It could be a cluster of 30, 40, and so on. The machine is 230 watts, and it takes these bulk molecules and breaks them down to 3, 4, 5, and 6 count. So the water is very soothing. It's very light. It will hydrate you at the cellular level, unlike any other water that you've experienced.
And I'll expand upon that. The smaller molecular structure of the molecule makes it more easily permeable or able to break into your cells. So it makes hydration an easier process from your larger cluster of cells, which is harder to get in to a small space. See, the smaller molecule is easier to get into the smaller space.
There are so many uses when you make your oatmeal with the water. If you're a coffee drinker, and that's an easy for people. I'm not a coffee drinker, but I hear it all the time. Amazing. The base is water, and I had a bodybuilder tell me one time, I've been privileged the finest supplements in the world, some of the finest foods, but nothing compares to water. Is the most essential element we put in our body. As John mentioned, we're made up of 70% water. At birth, we were born 90% water, and we're all born alkaline. That's a clue. So if you can, and we moved from an alkaline state into our teens as we got on solid food, meat and dairy. Pimples, over acidity. But if you can shift your pH back to balance, you're going to see your health improve.
And I tell people all the time, I try to give them this outlook that if you pour honey on a countertop and you put pepper in that honey, it's not going anywhere, right? Yes. So that's what's in our bodies. That's those sugar clumps that's holding the bacteria and colds in our body, keeping us sick. Well, if you take that same honey and you pour water on it and dilute it, it weakens the honey, so the pepper can move, and that's what happens in our body. We put our alkaline in our body and get our body back to alkaline state, then the bacteria and disease don't have nowhere to live. Right. They can't attach to our bodies. It gets flushed out.
It's all about getting your body back to the way that it was meant to function. It's not saying that this is going to cure everything. It's taking your body to where it once was and letting you function the way you were meant to function.
Dating we find better life.
We're going to now talk about the pH and show you how important it is to drink alkaline fluids instead of acidic fluids. And before I start that, nutrition is a huge part. Our diet makes up 25% of our makeup. The other 70 to 75 is water. We're made up of water. But the foods we eat too often will get us sick. And I'm going to show you these tomatoes that I got from Harris Teeter. I'm going to show you your only option at home is to rinse them under the faucet. And we're going to simulate that with the tap water here. We're going to soak these for a few minutes and then check on them. Now I'm going to put the tap water over on this end, and the tomatoes with tap water. I'm going to take the Kangen water. This is 11.5 pH Kangen water. It's high alkaline. It's not for drinking. It's a strong degreaser and cleaner. And we're going to let these soak right here. And then we'll come back to those. Now I'm going to show you how we fared with the tomatoes here. This is tap water. They've been soaking several minutes. Water looks pretty clear. Maybe a little tint to it. Same tomatoes soaked in Kangen water, 11.5 pH. And if you're wondering what this is right here, this is the oil pesticides that they put on the crop to preserve the crop. It's a billion-dollar industry, and this gets people sick. And if you were able to taste these tomatoes and then taste these, there's a big difference. Very fresh tasting. These tomatoes will last twice as long as these. People generally say bitter tasting, very sweet here. They'll extend the shelf life of your produce double. I've had strawberries 15 days out that would have been gone in 4 to 5 days. Okay, we're going to take sesame oil, okay? We know that oil and water don't mix, all right? So here's sesame oil. And we're going to take tap water. Okay. There's that strong Kangen water, 11.5 pH, and I'm going to put it in a cup, let you get a good look at it. It's just water, high pH water. I'll even take a sip. Okay? Check this out. Emulsivized oil. This water here has many different uses. If you use it to brush your teeth will be naturally white. It will remove tartar. I have 0 tartar when I go to the dentist. When I got on the water, I had inflamed gums all the time, so I'd always bleed. And the water knocks down inflammation, so I have no bleeding anymore. What I'd like to share with you is we're made up of water, 70%. Our blood is over 90%. 75% of Americans are chronically dehydrated, okay? And a quality glass of water can make a big difference in that. And that's what we have with Kangen water. I'll also share with you, when it comes to health and longevity, we're the greatest country in the world. There's no doubt about that. But right now, Japan ranks #1 in the world, and we are 38th in the world. We're behind Cuba, okay? And if we don't make changes, we're going to fall farther. So the quality of water is just one aspect of what we can do to improve our athletic performance and our quality of life.
dating me, find out life.
So Tom, you know, great presentation on the water. It's a lot of information. So tell us a little bit about Tom and where you're from and where did you play high school ball, collegiate ball, and how you made your way to Charleston, South Carolina.
Well, I played football. I grew up in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and had an opportunity to come to the Citadel and play football, but I opted to stay a little closer to home. And I went to Elon University. And in 1973, my freshman year, we were #1 in the nation, NAIA, over half the season, the last half. And we went through the playoff system, and we ended up losing our final, the championship game in the Independence Bowl, to the Abilene Christians.
And so when you came back here, you realized that this was a good business to kind of get into.
Well,
how did you?
What happened was, and what brought me to Charleston was I married a Charleston girl. So she was living in Charlotte at the time, and she said, you love the coast, so we moved to Charleston in 1984.
Okay.
I had a career for 29 years and in sales and management, and I then, before the end of that career, I bought a machine to help my son's acid reflux. He had a serious case of acid reflux. And he got results immediately. My wife was not real excited about a water machine, but what she saw it did for her son, she quickly changed her tune. And we drank a lot of water. She would bring cases from Costco. So we're eliminating the plastic. You know, we've got to do that because this plastic will be around for a couple thousand years.
Right.
And it just kind of grew from there. People tried the product, they liked it, they got results. When you can balance the body, your body can handle change, you know, when you give it what it needs, it will heal itself naturally. I'm a firm believer. I've seen it in so many people. I've shared this water with a lot of people.
And not only that, what are some of your current people that's not people but organizations or businesses that invested in the machine, and what do you want people to know? Because people might think personally, might be for their home, but it's also used for as a business office and athletic departments. What's some ideas? Give the audience some ideas that what they could be used for, how they can use the machine.
First of all, the machine is commercial grade. We could put it in the busiest venue in Charleston and run it 24/7. There's no moving parts in here. It first filters the water. There's a high-grade carbon filter, and then it restructures the water. But it can make a gallon a minute, and it can make as much as you want. And I've called on Clemson, University of South Carolina, Wake Forest, Duke, UNC Chapel Hill, and I've shared this with them. And in the future, somebody will be on board. It's coming. And I can tell you that people like Shan Stratton, who's worked with the New York Yankees on nutrition, turned the Yankees onto it 5.5 years ago. I know the Dallas Cowboys have our machines. San Diego Chargers, many pro athletes. Tiger Woods can tell you all about this. Phil Mickelson, a lot of the golfers. So it's new to us because the company came here in '03 for the Asian community. They know all about pH. And it took 2 years before it leaked over to English speaking out in California. And we now have about 220,000 machines in the United States. There's about 70,000 right in California.
Wow.
But it's growing, it's going to take a little time. And just by sharing the water, as you know, I'm glad to do, let you try it, see what it does. If you like it, I can help people get machines. And it will truly help athletes in a big way. Like I mentioned earlier, the lactic acid's a big thing. If you can go out day after day and you're drinking half of your weight in ounces a day, it's not 8 glasses, because one offensive lineman weighs 300 and a running back weighs 200.
Right.
You know, big difference in weight. So it's all about half of your weight in ounces a day. And this water is very light, it goes down easy. A lot of people call it smooth water. You know? In California, they call it tiny water. So